Welcome forward to part 3 of my vlog with my very special guest, the one and only Kennedy Prezedent Mensah, CEO of Back to the Future Music. Back to the Future Music. Back to the Future Music.
Representing.
Back to the Future Music.
Representing.
Every time I say that, it's like it's 20 quid. Back to the Future Music. Back to the Future Music.
No, I can't afford it anymore.
So in the previous episode, we was talking about his tenure as a DJ and also the remaining time that he basically had at the Voice newspaper and
as a full-time journalist.
As a full-time journalist. So now we're basically going into the era of Prezedent going into the publishing field, which he is now presently in today. So take it away. So what happened then?
Well, before I go there, can I just say,
What?
I'm not 100% sure that I'm enjoying the fact that you are taking my job. Because now you becoming the journalist. What's all this about, mate? This is like when I was DJing.
I learnt from the best.
Oh, I've got to stop my talk now.
That's 20. That's 20.
Oh, man trying to shut me up right
That's
here.
a pony, mate. That's a pony.
Wow, man trying to shut up people around here. Because when I was DJing, so you know, like you'd have like Mystery's birthday party.
Right.
And there'd be like 20, 30 DJs on the bill.
Yeah.
Them time, I'd turn up with my record boxes. Man be like, where am I doing at? He's a journalist, right? I'm gonna start writing now. Cause what they didn't realize was I was a DJ before I went to study the journalism.
Right.
Now you flip the coin. When I get referred to in the newspaper, in the Voice newspaper, when they had to get a quote from me. Actually, there was one reason they had to get a quote from me concerning you, but that's what I was point. Stick a pin, leave it. When they were referring to me then, they would refer to me as DJ Prezedent.
Right.
So they saw me as a DJ trying to write. The DJs saw me as a writer trying to DJ. I'm like, what? I can't do more than one thing. I can't be multifaceted. And it's not like I wasn't good as a DJ. I mean, my thing. You understand? My thing.
Something I'm going still.
Something that run, you know? So, 99, I get approached by Paulette Long, who, and she's working at this company called Westbury Music. I first became aware of Westbury Music in 1994. But what had happened was there was a tune called Oh Carolina by Shaggy.
Right.
And it had a lawsuit.
Yep.
Then there was a tune by Dawn Penn called No No No. And there was another lawsuit. So I'm like, what's going on? And the thing that the both of them had in common was that they were older tracks, classics, some more than others, because Dawn Penn's tune wasn't really a classic. It was a Studio One track, but nobody really played it. But the Oh Carolina was like a folk song, incidentally written by the Folks brothers. So
They had something to do with Prince Buster, right?
yes, Prince Buster produced it. Prince Buster says he wrote it. May he rest in peace. But and his argument was because the Folks brothers say they wrote it. Prince Buster said he wrote it, and Prince Buster was the producer, and he was the prolific one. Because he was so prolific that he was giving Cox and Duke Creed a run for their money when he came out back in the earlys. So when this tune came out now and it went to court, Prince Buster's argument was, look, if they could write such a song, why didn't they write any more? I'm the man. But anyway, the Folks brothers won that argument.
Yeah.
So we get to understand that there's a bit of a problem here with what happens when you have a hit from back in the 60s and then somebody covers it in the 90s. Why is there all this problem? So I went to interview some publishers. So I interviewed a gentleman called Guy Moon, who's like big in EMI. He like, yo, when you call that name in publishing, yeah, he the man. He's like, he would be equivalent to like a Clive Davis then.
Right.
Yeah, so I interviewed Guy Moon. I interviewed a gentleman called Howard Thomas from PRS. And then I interviewed Caroline Robertson from Westbury Music. And she gave me this quote where there's a hit, there's a writ. So that's a famous publishing quote. Where there's a hit, there's a writ. So now I get to understand that whenever there has been a hit in reggae, a reggae hit that's gone mainstream, there is some form of an argument. Sometimes it ends up in court. Other times it's just an argument. But every blessed one of them, there is an argument. And when I'm doing like talks and stuff, incidentally, I'm going over to Jamaica next month to do one of these talks on publishing. Apparently, they reckon I know a little something about this publishing too. So there's a society out there called Jams.
Isn't that the company that is it Desi Roots? Is it Desi Roots?
No, Desi Roots is the JFM.
JFM.
The Jamaica Federation of Musicians.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple of them. There's the JFM, then there's Java, which is for veteran artists, and then but that's like the musicians' unions.
Right.
But these are the societies we're talking about. So for the societies in Jamaica, you've got JCAP, which is their equivalent of PRS.
Right.
And then you've got Jams, who is their equivalent of PPL. So it's Jams who've invited me over to come and address some of their members and the general public about publishing. Right. So I just stuck my own pin, and I've removed the pin, and I can't remember where I stuck it. Where did I stick the pin?
Right. You was basically saying that.
Oh yes, I was doing the article. There you go. Thank you.
Glad to be of some use.
I was doing the article, and so that was basically my introduction to publishing. Prior to that, I knew nothing about nothing. So that's when I first met Westbury. So over the years, we would talk, and then Paulette became a friend, and she used to say that she wanted to manage me because she used to manage artists and stuff. She was also involved with Beverly Knight in the earlys as well. Right. So the first track that she did, the Flavour of the Old School, was produced by a gentleman called Neville Thomas, who had a production company, 2B3, and Paulette managed 2B3. Right. So yeah, them time there, we used to see Beverly in Brixton all the time. So come 1999 now, I'm doing a bit of radio, bit of freelancing. I've edited a couple of magazines, and Paulette says, why don't you come and... Because what happened was Paulette was working with Westbury, then she left to do her management and PR consultancy, and then she went back to Westbury, and when she went back, she saw that they had all of these vintage reggae catalogues, and she was like, come and have a look at these catalogues and see if we can do something. So I went in as a consultant, and that would have been November, December of 1999. Okay. The reason why I pause is because just around that time, my dad died. And that again is poignant because I was supposed to go away for the funeral because we took him back to Ghana. But I didn't know if I could go or not. And then I was supposed to go to Jamaica, and I didn't know if I could go or not. So it was a bit of a weird one. So anyway, I go to Jamaica with Caroline. When we go to check in the hotel, the receptionist is like, 2 rooms? I'm like, yeah, she's my boss. Man looking at me like I'm the toy boy. I'm like, no sir, it ain't that kind of party. But anyway, that was 1999. Yeah. I was there until 2008. And during that time, who did we sign? Oh gosh. So when I got there, we had classics, like we had John Holt was already there, Uroy, Max Romeo, Winston Riley, Bonnie Lee. They were already there. I inherited them. 90 The Observer. Right. So I was just working their catalogue. But what you would find is that when you'd have like a dance company or a drum and bass producer or somebody that was looking for a collaborator, they wanted a dancehall artist. And at the time, we had a gentleman called Action Fire and another one called Selfie Wonder. Those were the most recent artists that I had at my disposal there and then. And they'd be like, no man, we want Elephant Man, or we want Sizzler, or actually no, at the time it was more Elephant Man at that time, or a Beanie or a Bounty they wanted. And I'm like, well, this is but I mean, no disrespect to them, because they're good artists in their own right, but they weren't name brand artists.
Yeah.
So now, again at that time, you have these one rhythm albums from Greensleeves. So they would have 20 pieces of the one rhythm, and I'm looking on there and I'm like, raw, we got nothing on this. So I'm like, you know what, we need more of them kind of names there. So first one I signed like that, I think was Harry Toddler.
But man, not just like girl.
Yeah. So signed Harry Toddler. Now I've started to go to Jamaica a bit more regularly. So I remember going into Big Yard Studio, and as I'm walking in, there's a brother sitting out there penning lyrics. And as I'm walking past and I'm hailing up everybody, he's like, yeah, so what do you do? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a publisher. He's like, oh yeah, I reason with you. And that was a gentleman called Deli Ranks. And so I signed Deli.
Right.
Didn't know how prolific Deli was going to be, because Deli now turns into this big old producer. And just prior to that meeting, he had a tune on an album called Dotty Rock by Sean Paul. So Sean Paul's first Grammy album. So I didn't even realize it, but that was my first Grammy artist that I'd signed.
Right.
So I signed Harry Toddler. Then there was Gringo. Gringo used to write with Beanie Man. Then there's Deli Ranks. Then I signed like Jamason. Who else did I sign them time there? Man, it's a long time ago now. Then we had a sub-publisher in America who also had a few reggae artists on his books. So we were sub-publishing him over here. And so Paulette was like, well, why don't you let us sub-publish some of your reggae catalogue then? You know, because we got this reggae specialist here and he was umming and ahhing. Then he bumped into me. He went to do a talk in Jamaica because they had what was that? CME, Caribbean Music Expo.
Right.
So he was presenting on a panel for the CME, and I was there. I was there as just attending the conference. But the way he saw me interacting with the artists, he was like, maybe this kid has something there. So then he started to give us some of his catalogue. The first artist he gave us was a gentleman called Wayne Wonder. So he gives us the Wayne Wonder catalogue, and the catalogue has about 70 works in it. So then I take it away. And you got to remember, this is before we have YouTube.
Yeah.
Before we have iTunes. We can just about spell Google. In fact, could we spell Google them time there? Because this is about 2002, 2003, them time there. So now I take the catalogue that he's giving me, and then I feed it through the presidential computerizations. And I give him back like 250.
Right.
He's like, damn! So from that now, one other one that I signed late in the day was Mad Cobra. Because I say that one because he actually came looking for me. He said, you me want to deal with my thing. I'm like, okay. So we get Wayne Wonder. Then he starts filtering us through a couple more of his catalogue, like Turbulence, Jacquior, Fantan Moja. Who else came through that? But then the big one, which I had to negotiate personally, even though it came through that deal, was the signature of Robert Livingston.
Who, if you don't know, that was or is still?
No, was.
Was Shaggy's manager at the time.
At the time. So I signed Robert Livingston's catalogue, which was Livingston Music, and in there came Kiprich, came Voicemail. At the time, it had Nigel Staff, had a couple more musicians in there, Robert Brownie, and of course Robert Livingston himself.
Yeah.
Voicemail, and Shaggy. And I come back with this, can't chat to me, you know? Can't chat to me, I'm the man now. I'm the man, you can't chat to me. But, you know, they say all good things must come to an end. So 2008 is when it all came to an end. Basically what happened was Caroline retired, and so she made the staff directors. Well, she made most of the staff directors.
So who was left out then?
Me and the interns. That was another conversation that I had with Ranking Miss P, because when it first came to light, because that was before 2000, it was about 2005 this conversation first came up, but by the time it really was like, nah, this is not happening, that's when, so 2005 I'm like, man, and also 2005 was it 2005? It might have been a bit earlier than that still, because I'd been there 2 or 3 years, and I got my feet under the table.
Right.
I'm doing my thing, and they started having this conversation about directors, and they weren't gonna make me a director or give me shares in the company. And I'm like, sure, man, because I'm doing all of this work and I'm managing these catalogs. And Miss P was like, but hold on, who can you actually say that you've signed? I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing all the work and I'm registering and yeah, but who can you actually say that you've actually signed? And at that time, I couldn't. She's like, listen, don't you dare leave. You stay there and you learn as much as you can, and one day you're going to be a very rich man. And you know when you're having them conversations and you always remember exactly where you were.
Yeah.
I was driving on the dual carriageway on Trinity Road that day, and every so often when I get to that point, I remember this conversation. She was like, don't you dare leave. It's like, okay, fine. So it was after that now. So by the time it came to 2008, I can name all of these names that I know that was my personal work.
Right.
Granted, it's a team, so there's always assistants, but when it comes down to it, it was, you know, so me do my thing. So all comes to a head 2008, find myself out of my ear, and I'm there looking for a new job, doing my CV, my brother's helping me. He's like, I don't know why you don't just start yourself, mate.
And we're going to stop right there. So that's end of part what, 3?
3. Oh, you lost count already?
Yeah, I lost count already.
Okay, cool.
I'm just so engrossed in his life story. But anyway, that's the end of part 3 of the vlog. And on the next episode, we're going to go into him being his own shot caller, baller. More money, more problems, and
oh, tell me about it.
any other P. Diddy references you care to mention right about now?
Biggie references.
Biggie references, yes. I stand corrected. Yeah, he is the publisher. You can hear the publisher talking him, right? Don't quote unless you know who you're quoting, or else we're suing your ass. Anyway, so we're gonna forward in part 4 of the vlog, where Prezedent's gonna be talking about his involvement and his building of his baby. Back to the Future music, back to the future music, back to the future music.
No, Betchin.
That's how much now.
No, y'all not too much money, man. Go away with that.
We'll be right back.